Chapter 59, Destination Unknown. Tootie was driving, if that's what you wanted to call it. She didn't have her hands at 10 o'clock and 2. She didn't have a hand at any o'clock. Basically, Tootie drove with one finger on the wheel. Flora's father would have been appalled. They were in the front seat, all four of them. Tootie, Marianne, Flora, and William Spiver. They were speeding down the road. It was alarming and exhilarating to be going so fast. "So your plan is to effect an exchange," said William Spiver. "The lamp for the squirrel?" "Yes," said Flora. "But, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we have no idea where the squirrel and your mother are." Flora hated the phrase, "correct me if I'm wrong." In her experience, people only said it when they knew they were right. "Ulysses!" Tootie shouted out her open window. "Ulysses!" Flora could see the squirrel's name, Ulysses, flying out of the car and into the night, a single beautiful word that was immediately swallowed up by the wind and the darkness. Her heart clenched. Why hadn't she told the squirrel she loved him? "I hate to be the voice of reason," said William Spiver. "Don't be, then," said Flora. "But here we are, speeding down the road. And we are speeding, aren't we, Great Aunt Tootie? Surely we are exceeding the posted speed limit?" "I don't see a posted speed limit," said Tootie. She hollered Ulysses' name again. "In any case," said William Spiver, "it seems that we are going extremely fast. And we are speeding where exactly? We don't know. We are en route to an unknown destination, calling out the name of a missing squirrel all the while. It doesn't seem one bit rational." "Well, what's your idea?" said Flora. "What's your plan?" "We should try to think where your mother would have taken him. We should be logical, methodical, scientific." "Ulysses!" shouted Tootie. "Ulysses!" screamed Flora.
"Saying his name won't make him appear," said William Spiver.
But saying William Spiver's name over and over made him appear. This, Flora knew from Terrible Things Can Happen to You, was magical thinking or mental causation. According to Terrible Things, it was a dangerous way to think. It was dangerous to allow yourself to believe that what you said directly influenced the universe. But sometimes it did, didn't it? Do not hope, Flora thought. But she couldn't help it. She did hope. She was hoping. She had been hoping all along. "Ulysses!" she shouted. The car slowed down.
"What now?" said William Spiver. "Have we spotted something squirrel-related?"
Tootie used a single finger to steer the car to the side of the road.
"Let me guess," said William Spiver as they coasted to a stop. "We've run out of gas."
"We've run out of gas," said Tootie.
"Oh, the symbolism," said William Spiver.
Why, Flora wondered, had she ever thought that William Spiver would be able to help her? Why had she thought of him as her safe port in a storm? Was it because he had held her stupid hand in a stupid dream? Or was it because he never shut up and she couldn't give up on the idea that he might actually say something at some point that was meaningful, helpful? Talk about magical thinking. "Where are we?" Flora said to Tootie. "I'm not entirely certain," said Tootie.
Great, said William Spiver. We're lost. Not that we knew where we were going to begin with.
We'll have to walk, said Tooty.
Obviously, said William Spiver. But walk where?
Chapter 60. He was Ulysses. They were in the woods. He could tell by the smell of pine resin in the trees and the sound of pine needles crunching underfoot. Also, there was the powerful, extremely pervasive scent of raccoon. Raccoons owned the night, and raccoons were truly terrifying creatures, more brutal even than cats. This will do, said Flora's mother. She stopped. She put the sack down on the ground, and then she opened it and shone a bright light on Ulysses. He clutched his poem to his chest. He stared into the light as bravely as he could. Give me that, said Flora's mother. She pulled the paper out of his paws. She threw it to the ground. Would she never tire of flinging his words away? This is the end of the road, Mr. Squirrel, she said. She put the flashlight on the ground. She picked up a shovel. The shovel. He heard Flora's voice saying, Remember who you are. The squirrel turned and sniffed his tail. He thought about when Flora had shown him the picture of Alfred T. Slipper in his janitor uniform, and how Alfred had been transformed into the bright light that was incandesto. The words from the poem that Tooty had recited rose up inside of him. Flare up like flame and make big shadows. He wasn't a stone squirrel. Arr! Eek! He was Ulysses. He's flying. Chapter 61. I Want to Go Home. You can navigate by the North Star, supposedly. Moss grows on the north side of trees, or so they say. If you are lost in the woods, you should stay where you are, and someone will come and find you. Maybe. These were the things that Flora had learned about being lost from reading Terrible Things Can Happen to You. Not that any of it was particularly relevant here. They weren't lost in the woods. They were lost in the universe, which, according to William Spiver, was expanding. How comforting. Ulysses! Shouted Tooty. Ulysses! Shouted Flora. It's pointless, said William Spiver. Flora was carrying Mary Ann, and William Spiver was holding on to Tooty's shoulder. Flora hated to agree with William Spiver, but pointless seemed like an increasingly appropriate word. Her arms ached from carrying the little shepherdess. Her feet hurt. Her heart hurt. Let's see, said Tooty, peering into the darkness. That's Bricknell Road up there, so we're not truly lost.
I wish I could see, said William Spiver in a sad voice.
You can see, said Tooty.
Great Aunt Tooty, said William Spiver, I am loath, as always, to point out the obvious, but I will do it here and now for the sake of clarity. You are not me. You do not exist behind my traumatized eyeballs. I am telling the truth, my truth. I cannot see.
There's nothing wrong with you, William, said Tooty. How many times do I have to tell you that?
Why did she send me away, then? Said William Spiver. His voice shook.
You know why she sent you away.
I do?
You can't just push somebody's truck into a lake, said Tooty.
It was a pond, said William Spiver. A very small pond. More of a sinkhole, actually.
You cannot totally submerge somebody's vehicle in a body of water, said Tooty in a very loud voice. and expect that there aren't going to be severe consequences.
I did it in a fit of anger, said William Spiver. I admitted almost immediately that it was a very unfortunate decision.
Tootie shook her head. You pushed a truck into a lake? Said Flora. How did you do that?
I released the parking brake and put the truck in drive, and I...
That's enough, said Tootie. We don't need a how to push a truck into a lake lecture.
Sinkhole, said William Spiver. It really was a sinkhole.
Wow, said Flora. Why did you do it?
I was exacting my revenge upon Tyrone, said William Spiver. My name is William. William Spiver, not Billy. I was Billy one time too many. I cracked. I pushed Tyrone's truck into the sinkhole, and when my mother found out, she was incandescent with rage. I looked upon her rage, and you know what happened then. I was blinded by disbelief and sorrow.
He shook his head.
I am her son, but she made me leave. She sent me away.
Even in the darkness, Flora could see the tears crawling out from underneath William Spiver's dark glasses.
I want to be called William Spiver, he said. I want to go home.
Flora felt her heart lurch inside of her. I want to go home. It was another one of William Spiver's sad, beautiful sentences. But will you return? I came looking for you. I want to go home. Flora realized that she wanted to go home too. She wanted things to be the way they were before she was banished. She put Mary Ann down on the ground. Give me your hand, she said.
What? Said William Spiver.
Give me your hand, said Flora again.
My hand. Why?
Flora reached out and grabbed hold of William Spiver's hand, and he held on to her. It was as if he were drowning and she were standing on solid ground. According to Terrible Things, drowning people were desperate, out of their minds with fear. In their panic, they could pull you, the rescuer, under if you weren't careful. So Flora held on tightly to William Spiver, and he held on tightly back. It was just like her dream. She was holding William Spiver's hand, and he was holding hers. Well, if you two are going to walk around holding hands, said Tootie, I suppose I'll have to be the one who carries this monstrosity of a lamp. She picked up Mary Ann. Above them, the stars were brilliant, shining brighter than Flora had ever seen them shine.
I wish my father were here, said William Spiver.
He wiped the tears on his face with his free hand. An image of Flora's father, hands in his pockets, hand on his head, smiling and saying, Holy Bagumba, in the voice of Dolores, rose up in Flora's mind. Her father. She loved him. She wanted to see his face. I know where we should go, said Flora.